Hi everyone. In this video we will talk about how to create a dataset and create vignettes. We are assuming that you already have a profile, an account, so you've gone through the process of registering for the Clinical Community Challenge. Now from the home page you can go to data on the nav bar, or you can go to data and vignettes from the call to action. We'll just use this on the top bar here. And you can see some data sets already created. We're going to create a new data set there, and we'll give our data set a name. So a data set is a collection of individual pieces of data. So we'll create a data set first and then start adding data to it. So this data set will be called test data set. If it has a home page, that's perfect. If not, that's okay. The data type, we will choose vignettes. Now this is very important to choose vignettes for the challenge, because all of the data points will be clinical case vignettes, also known as clinical case studies. That's awesome. And then we'll add a description here. This is a data set that will contain simple vignettes for neglected tropical diseases, as an example. Okay, the language that we'll be collecting this in is English. We'll just set this to today, and we'll set this to today also. Dataset license, so the license you want to list your data under. I'm going to choose CCA4, and yeah, I'll go ahead and fill in the rest of this information. You can contact, my name is Dummy, it's not Ali in this case, Dummy at Elsa.health. I can choose to fill in the rest of the information as much as I want. The annotation process that we use to create this data set, for the case, in the case of clinical case vignettes, you should just describe how you're annotating the data, which in this case is simply creation of vignette from medical literature and interviews with experts. There is not going to be any sensitive information in the clinical case vignettes. The social impact of the dataset, so here you can describe how you think your dataset can impact society. I will just say possible impact is through the validation of existing and new models. Feel free to be creative. Biases in the dataset, you can list out the biases that you had while creating, or that you expect when you'll be creating the vignettes. Here, one of them is that the data set, in my case, is created by a Tanzanian with experience working in the region and not other regions, if I can spell. No limitations of the data set. Here we can include anything that we think is a limitation of the data set. Since I am super awesome, there are no limitations, and any citation details that I needed, I would just say that the name should be Dummy. Keep forgetting and writing my real name there. Okay, after the data set is created, you'll see that the form clears up, and when you come back to your dataset list, it should load for you. Yes, there it is. And this is my dataset. I can then choose to add vignettes to it. So here's my vignettes list, and I can let's say I'm creating one for tinea capitis. If it's a typical or atypical case, I'll make mine typical. This patient is 20 years, 0 months and 0 days. They are a male in Tanzania, with a height of 166 and a weight of, I don't know, 65. The patient's vitals I'll then record next. So this patient is 37 or 30, yeah, let's say 37 degrees with a respiratory rate of, I'm just going to leave this blank, of 0, heart rate 0, oxygen saturation 0. Of course, this patient would have a hard time staying alive, but you would fill this information in based on the research that you would do. So the patient's symptoms in this case would be pruritus, or aka itching, and we can say whether this is a chief complaint or not, how long they've had this symptom for. So let's say they've had it for 21 days and they have had it on their scalp in this case, and it started out gradually, whether it gets more intense at night or not, and let's assume that antihistamines relieve it this time. So for the sake of demonstration, we will try and add a few more symptoms. So let's add fever. We'll say this patient has a fever as an example. We can say it's relapsing or it's non-specific, if it's high grade or low grade, if they have loss of consciousness, a headache, and what the relievers are. So you can list this out as many as you want to, and then you go into risk factors. My patient is smoking and is also diabetic. Okay, have they been in contact recently with anybody with any other conditions? You can list them out here as well. So they were in contact with someone with I don't know, tuberculosis, typhoid, sorry. Any known allergies that the patient has? None in this case, or let's say mold. Recent medications that the patient has been taking. We will assume that the patient has been taking amoxicillin capsules. Again, you don't have to fill these out if the vignette you're creating is of a patient who hasn't had any recent medications or doesn't have known allergies. Any tests that you performed? We performed an MRDT. It came back positive or negative, or either one of those. We did a white blood cell count, and it came back 13 was the count, and you can list out as many of those as you see fit. The next step here is the similar or acceptable differentials. So for this vignette that is presented to you, what are the similar conditions that are possible other differential diagnosis? So we'll say tinea nigra in this case, corporis, and let's see if there's another. We'll say cruris. Okay, we'll list 3 of them and then submit our vignette. Quickly scan it to make sure that all the information here makes sense, then submit it. Okay, done. You can then go ahead and start creating your next one, but we will go back. So I'll come here and press back, and we'll see that the model we just created, the vignette we just created is listed here. And there it is. Great.